Hi, this is Aster, and this is me 7 weeks on testosterone, so almost 2 months, 1 month and 3 weeks. The first thing I want to declare is that I learned that 50 milligram is not actually like a low dose, like it's not microdosing, because I was upped from 21 milligrams to 50, and 50 is still the lower side of a starting dose, but I learned that a regular dose can be from 50 to 100 milligram per day in gel. So apparently I'm now no longer on like a low dose, I'm like a lower side of a regular dose, and that explains why I have like an increase of not symptoms. I wanted to say symptoms, but like changes. The words I'm looking for is changes. So there's that. And I have a list again, quite a pretty long list. So the first thing I want to say that I now have a darker happy trail. I always had somewhat of a happy trail, but as you can see, my fur is quite blonde everywhere. It's short time. It's not like warm enough to actually wear shorts outside for a long period of time, especially today. But inside the house, when the heating is kind of fine, I can wear shorts, which is fabulous because I refused to wear shorts for the first 14, 15 years of my life because I was so insecure about my legs, because I knew that women should shave, and I did not want to shave, but I was ashamed of my legs being hairy. And when I accepted the fact that, oh, I'm not a girl actually, and I wish that I had the confidence even as a girl to not shave my legs and show my legs, because that would be the healthy way. Because if you're a woman and you don't want to shave, that's totally up to you, and society shouldn't decide for you whether you should get the hair off the natural hair on your legs or not. But I was really insecure about it. I remember in the water, in like in ponds and lakes and whatever, that I was in the water, like I wasn't bathing, but I was swimming. I don't know what I did in the water, because I do not like to swim, but I like to be in the water. I don't know, playing catch ball in the water and, like beach activities. Whatever. When I was in the water, that was fine because I was underwater and you couldn't see it. But once I was out of the water, I remember like wrapping myself up in towels and just, even if this amount of leg was showing, I was like pulling it down, and I didn't want to move because I didn't want anyone to see my legs. So it was pretty bad. But once I accepted the fact that I'm trans and I'm not a girl, and I can suddenly go out with uncovered legs and not shaving, I was totally fine with it. And even ever since then, I love being in shorts. Up until the point, I said to everyone that, when the sun is like really hot, it's actually better to have a long layer of like thin fabric, like harem pants or like Turkish, like those baggy pants on you, because the sun cannot directly hit your skin and heat it up under a thin layer of something. And if it's baggy enough, actually when you move, it creates a wind around, like a breeze around your legs, and it's actually much cooler experience than having like a short. And scientifically that is true, but that was not the reason why I was doing it. I could explain it scientifically like a queen, and everyone was like, oh yeah, actually that is very, very, oh well. But the reason was that I was so fucking afraid. But now I love rocking shorts, and like not shorts, even those, but like those kind of longer ones. Whatever. It seems that having a list does not help me not getting off of track. So anyway, happy trail. I always had a happy trail, but it was really blonde, so that didn't really seem. And there was some years when I shaved it because I'm like, I don't want anyone to look at my belly and see that there is hair growing there. So that was stupid. Whatever. So my happy trail now is a little bit darker and a little bit more visible. Actually, I noticed this because in the shower when it's wet, it naturally seems a bit darker. I was like, oh, okay, it's probably just the water. But when I watched back the video when I was in a white fur coat, and when the t-shirt was lifted up, I was like, that actually shows a bit. So yeah, it's a bit darker, the happy trail, but in no other places I started to grow hair or darkening my hair. As you can see, I do not have, I mean, I have hair all over my legs and my arms and everything, but they are just really not that visible. Anyway, that is about hair growth. I also noticed a little bit of like torso sculpting, which is weird because I'm not even 2 months on testosterone. And I mean, I'm working out, but I was working out before as well. But I definitely, it's not like too much of a change, but instead of this, I have more like a this figure. So it's my torso, this part of my body is not that hourglass shape anymore, which is awesome because obviously an hourglass shape puts attention on your hips that I do not want. And it's true that God, I do not believe in God, but God gives trans man the finest shapes and biggest boobs, and I dodged the bullet with the boobs one because I'm really thankful that they do not have big boys at all. But I have quite wide hips, and I always felt like I was wasting away my potential because I had, and this is not like being obnoxious or anything, I had a really great figure. I have a really great figure. And I knew that every person that would identify as a girl, either being born female or like male to female, anyone with a femme presentation would have killed for that body. Like, I had the hourglass shape without the boobs, because for the hourglass you have to have the upper part as well. But like, I had a really great figure and like long legs, and I hated it, the body itself, and I tried everything with clothing to conceal that, and I hated when someone pointed it out. Oh, you have such a great figure, and I knew that it was coming from a good place because they didn't know that I don't like being complimented in a feminine way. But you know, even like family members, mostly family members, like, oh, you're such a fine young lady, you have such a great figure. I'm like, thank you. I didn't like it. So if I could, I would swap it with someone who wants more feminine body. But yeah, so finally my torso is sculpting and I'm losing my hourglass figure, which is, I know that for someone else would be a tragedy, but for me, we're hoping on that. So the third thing on the list, I wanted it to be a succinct video, well, it won't be, is muscle gain. I talked about it before, and I will talk about it. I will continue to talk about it because the muscle gain on my shoulders and my arms is really happening. It's really good. And even outside of jiu-jitsu practice, now 3 times a week I work out at home, especially on the chest muscles, because I want to, well, it's for 2 reasons. One is that I have small enough boobs that I think that if I exercise really specifically on the chest muscles, maybe I can, well, not leave the binder, but like sort of leave the binder, or like create a physique that is more hideable with just regular clothes. So that is that. And also I want top surgery someone it's not a word, in the future. But right now do not have the money for it or anything for it. But I do want top surgery, and I know that the results will be a lot better if the surgeon can actually see, I have a hair here, the outline of your pec muscles, and he can work along those edges. So that's why I want to build my chest muscle especially, but obviously broader shoulders and bigger arms and everything, which gives like the masculine physique form, is fine by me. So I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing everything I can at home, although I hate exercising because it's monotone. I think I've talked about it in the video in the past, that it's as monotone and as boring to me as showering, and I do not like it. But you know, I almost killed this little goldfish here. I have a little goldfish here, by the way, with a cute little stomach, tummy. Oh, it's so cute. And it itself looks like it's bubbles, like air bubbles from the goldfish. Anyway, so when I was hitting my chest, I almost killed the goldfish. But what I wanted to say is that it's worth it. My chest being smaller is worth the boring part of the exercise. So, face shape. I think it shows a bit. I don't know if it shows on video, but I rewatched videos of myself before tea, like way before tea, and I think it's wider and more like a box shape. So I definitely gained fat on my face, and like it's sculpting. It's I'm getting there. What else? Oh, that is like a really long topic, and I will probably today make another video about it because it's really interesting for me. So I will just say that I am still asexual. I don't think that will ever change. So I'm still asexual, but under the asexual label, I think something is happening, like the sub-labels might change. Not because I went on T and it changed my sexuality, because it cannot do that, but also, so there's a correlation between me being autistic and a trans man and asexual. So those three things are like a holy trinity, and they affect each other. And there are, as I learn now, a number of things that I thought was because of the asexuality, and they were actually just signs of intense body dysphoria. But I didn't realize it because I'm autistic, and I have a thing where I cannot really understand my emotions or feel my emotions. I'm pretty detached from them. Alexithymia is the word for it, where I know that something is wrong, but I can't really name it. I don't know which provoked that kind of feeling in my body. So I will go into a lot more detail in it in the next video. But basically, there are a lot of stuff that I didn't realize was because I'm trans, and I have that bad relationship with my body, and I thought that my disinterest or like disgust with specific activities is not because I'm asexual, is because I have intense troubles with my body due to being trans. So that is that is starting to shift, because now I'm on T, and now my body is changing, and I realized that, I no longer feel that intense about some stuff, so it must be or like there's a bigger chance it being a trans thing than an asexual thing. But yeah, alexithymia and autism just prevented me from actually knowing. Like, imagine two columns. One is like asexuality and the other one is trans, and you have a feeling in your body, but I just put it under the wrong column, is basically what happened. So anyway, more on that stuff later in the other video. The feminine side, I also won't spend too much time with that, because I have another video, or like two videos, about me experimenting with more of my feminine style now that I can, now that I don't think that it makes me a woman, or like makes me present like a woman, or being thought of as a woman. So now I am more comfortable with my feminine side, and I'm more how do you say that, experimental with my feminine side. And that also means it's not just like fashion wise, it's also with mannerisms and the way of talking and being, which is amazing. But I always knew, and that is actually my next point, is the gay voice and being sassy, that I always had a way of saying things, of telling a story with a bit of like theatrical thing. I always thought myself to be a good storyteller because I acted out everything, and obviously a little bit like, exaggerated things to a limit that it wasn't lying, but it made the storytelling more enjoyable. It made the story more enjoyable for the listener. So I always like use big expressions and played with my voice and just exaggerated a little bit on the story. And I did it when I was presenting femme, and I did it when I thought I was a girl. So that is like personality thing. And it's so strong of a personality thing that even though I knew that when I played with my voice, it got a lot higher, I still did not or could not suppress it. So I didn't change a thing about it, even though I knew it made me sometimes dysphoric, being like too girly. While doing those big dramatic gestures, I don't know why it's considered girly, and it's not girly. It's just enthusiastic and like dramatic. But even though sometimes it made me dysphoric, I couldn't suppress it. And now that my voice is a little bit deeper and I feel more secure as a transmasc person, now it's like over the roof, really. I got so much comfortable in being more sassy, and the gay voice is there. I didn't know I had the gay voice when I was a girl. It just didn't come off as a gay voice. It came off like an enthusiastic girl rambling about stories. But now that I'm a guy and I see myself as a guy, and probably others see me as well, and I start to sound more like a guy, it is definitely developing into a gay voice, and I fucking love it. I mean, I know that some people who are straight trans men or binary straight trans men, they probably don't like this thing because others think they are gay. That there's this thing that some I don't know, that if straight or like the cis person definitely think that trans men are gay, and often they are not. They are cis. They are no, they're not cis. They're trans, but they are heterosexual, so they are attracted to women. But sometimes, or most of the time, I don't know, people just assume that they're gay. But I am kind of gay, and I know that I'm asexual, okay? But like, I'm gay, I'm queer. There's no need to over explain it. I am most definitely gay. So I very fortunately am not dysphoric about it, or like I don't want to change it. I love the gay voice. As I said in the last video, like with my femininity stuff, like presenting femme or like a more girly way as a gay man, oh, I am loving it. So I just caught myself, even with family members, which is weird. I was playing cards with my mother, and I was so sassy. Ow! It was actually hurting me. It was like watching a episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. I was like so theatrical, so gay. I was like almost embarrassed of me. Like, oh my god, I cannot imagine my mother be like, what? Because as I said, when I was presenting as a girl and everybody thought that I was a girl, I was super not that. I said that, yeah, when I was telling stories, I was tend to be a bit theatrical. But like I said, I was always like very masculine presenting. And I toned it down a bit, like in everyday conversation, I think. But now I do not. And I do not know how my parents like viewing it from an outside perspective. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because that child is obviously like the most masculine he's ever been. Obviously they wouldn't use this pronoun, but whatever. That the most masculine has ever been. And I mean, I don't think that they are oblivious like this. I mean, they must have an idea about what's going on. They just refuse to do it and acknowledge it. But like, he's the most boy he's ever been. And at the same time, he's acting more like a bitch than he'd ever been. Like, he looks like a fucking boy, but he acts like a drama queen these days. And that's basically the vibe. Whatever. Next thing, you can obviously see that I got a little bit more acne on this higher dose than I had before. I was quite acne prone when I was going through my first puberty, and now it's a bit better actually, but like 2 or 3 days before, it was absolute shit. I had acne all over my face, and I have a lot of chest acne and back acne as well, so we're rocking with it. Fortunately, I was never one to worry about it. Even when I was presenting as a girl, everyone else was freaked out, like, oh, that makes your face look, I don't know, less feminine. But that was basically the reason I didn't care. But like, oh, it must be so hard for a girl to have acne because, you know, like, boys are looking at your face and that is your pretty part, and I don't know, such bullshit. But they were really like concerned about it, and oh, you should do something about it. Every fucking person that I met offered me some free advice about what to do with my face for it to look better. I was like, that's a backsided compliment. You sell it as you want to help me, but actually you're saying that your face looks so shit that I must do something about it. You must do something about it. So it never bothered me, and it doesn't bother me now. And I think it even bothers me less than it didn't bother me before, because now I see it as a sign of like teenage puberty, like being a teenage boy. We're getting the whole package. This is just, you know, in the deal. Like, it just proves me that the testosterone is working, and then I'm going through the same shit that every other boy had to go through. Like, not every boy, because, you know, some are more prone to acne and some are not. But like, it doesn't really bother me. I'm doing the usual stuff I do. Like, I don't want it to be worse, or I don't want it to be bad. I'm not doing anything with it, but I won't go an extra mile to make it non-existent, or like, I don't know, foundation or something. I just don't care. So, body temperature, I am generally more warm than I was. I realized that when it's like warm enough in the living room, no other people there notices it, but like, it's so fucking hot, please open up the window or something. So I think I'm getting more hot, even in like cold weather now outside, because it's like changing seasons, it's spring. I find myself not being cold as much, so I think that is working. The voice, not the gay voice, but the voice itself, I think now even you can hear it through the video that it has deepened. I wanted to find a word and I didn't, so I forgot how to English. Continuously, the word we were looking for, continuously having voice cracks, and like just the thing that teenage boys have with their voice when it's just like squeaky. But I love it, and I think that overall my voice has deepened. Yeah, and the two other things that I mentioned is like, my parents must know that something is going on. Like, there were several Freudian slips in their talk that I know that they are not ready to accept it at all, and if I told them, they'd be so shocked and so outraged, and that is the reason that I am going abroad before I tell them, because I am expecting that much of a reaction. But they must know that something is going on, and even if their heart don't want to accept it, their mind, their scientific brain sees something, sees a boy acting and looking like one and nearly sounding like one, and they just cannot deny it any longer. Like, the other day, my dad had a beer on the porch and was like, oh, come sit outside with me, just talk about the day or something. It looks like a cute gesture. It is intended that way. I do not like those conversations that much. He just basically tells a list about what he has done in the garden, or like the whole day, what he has completed, as if I asked. Anyway, it's too much family drama for you. The important stuff is that he doesn't like when I drink anything at all. I don't like to drink anything at all, but when I do, like a glass of wine or something, he's always like, oh, my little child. It's so weird to see you drink alcohol and not be a 5-year-old anymore. I was like, I know. So anyway, he was like, oh, look at me, allowing you to have a drink with me. But the actual sentence included the word son. So he said, oh, look at me, having a drink with my son on the porch, with my daughter on the porch. He corrected himself. The first sentence he said was like, oh, look at me, having a drink with my son. Having a drink with your who? And I know that we are I have 3 other siblings, and 2 of them are boys, and he messes up our names all the time. Like, I'm being called or the 3 other siblings' name, and probably the dog and the cat, like, all the time. So maybe it was just a slip up because he was thinking about his other 2 sons or something, but it felt good. And as I said, I think I said it in some of the videos that I did, that in Hungary you say son. Maybe I didn't. So it's like a general thing that when you have a child in the other generation, when you have a kid, you just, oh, come here, son. Even if that's a daughter, even if that's a girl, you can say son as like a child. It's a synonym for child. And like a word of endearment, even if someone is not your actual biological son or daughter or child, you just say to them, like the old lady that I'm cleaning at her place, she calls me son all the time, like, oh, come here, son, please do that for me. And she doesn't know that I'm a son, and also I'm not her son, but old people in Hungary genuinely call you son. And my father did it all his time, and it was always so funny to me when I realized I was trans, that he called me since day one son all the time, and I loved it, but I didn't tell him that. But I was like, as soon as I tell him that I actually am a son, he will stop doing that, and he will start to call me daughter every fucking time. I swear to God. It probably will happen. I mean, he probably won't talk to me, so that won't be a problem. But another thing that now he's doing is whenever I'm helping with him with a task, like a physical one out in the garden, and we have a farm-like situation going on, a lot of physical stuff doing around the house, and whenever I help him, he's calling me colleague, which is weird. I mean, in Hungary not as well. It's like a friendly way of seeing the other one as equal, and setting up sort of like a workers group like situation. And it's really funny because he's like, oh, colleague, come here, or like, oh, can you help with that, colleague? And they're like, okay, because like that is really gender neutral, even in Hungarian. And it being gender neutral, it's because workers, like physical workers, tend to be all male, at least in Hungary. Like they dominate the field really well, pretty much. Then when you say, oh, colleague, come here, it's because people in Hungary don't usually use the word colleague in that situation, in like upper class jobs, like in I don't know, banks or anything like that. It's usually like those who do the roads and build the stuff and shovel the stuff. So they tend to be like lower class man. So when he says, oh, colleague, come here, I feel like one, and it's really good. So Jesus fucking Christ, this is the longest video I've done, and I didn't intend it. Whatever. I'm sure you're used to it now. Just for you to know, I am trying every single time. I am trying not to be this long. It just happens, and I had a pretty huge list now, so I think it's forgiven, at least from me. I don't mind doing long videos, but I know my attention span, and I know that you probably don't have this much of an attention span. So if you're still here, well, thank you. It's really nice to see you and know that, I don't know, it's maybe just my ADHD and autism combined or something, or just the way that our attention span is, like, the younger generation is not that good. But if I was entertaining enough for you to not click off, voila, that's good. So yeah, I think that was all. I hope that was all. Peace out.